everybody. Thank you for tuning in to the GSMC Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. My name is Samantha Genzer, and I'm going to be your host for today. We have a very special episode today. In the first two segments, we have a guest coming on the show. Our guest is Thomas Bresee from the GSMC College Football Podcast. How are you doing today, Thomas?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me on here.
Yeah, so in the first segment today, we're going to be talking about the House v. NCAA settlement's effect on women's sports. And then in the next segment, we're going to talk, our guest and I will talk about the Caitlin Clark and the chaos surrounding her in regards to the controversy of her being targeted or not. Afterwards, we're going to be covering the USA volleyball team roster, WTA rankings, and make sure you stay to the end of today's episode to hear about the University of Oklahoma taking their fourth consecutive victory at the World Series. Before we begin, I wanted to ask you guys to like and follow the show and to become a part of our show to tip and donate using the link gsmcpodcast.net. Also, we do get a lot of questions that come from viewers during this show, so to make sure that your questions get read on the air, I ask that you use the link gsmcpodcast.net. This puts your questions at the top of the list so that I see them, and of course, it really does help the show. Again, the link is gsmcpodcast.net. Okay, let's get started. I hope you guys enjoy today's content. Okay, so we're just going to begin with some background information on the House v. NCAA settlement. So this settlement signifies a line in the sand, not since 1984's NCAA v. Board of Regents of the University of Oklahoma have we seen a ruling fundamentally alter the landscape of college athletics in this manner. Not only does the settlement distribute roughly $2.8 billion in name, image, and likeness back pay, but it also establishes a framework for future athlete revenue sharing. Details still do need to be sorted out, but it's a landmark step towards getting players in on the financial windfall they generate. The NCAA tournament does benefit from this as it will preserve the tournament, but there are some things that I am concerned about. Non-revenue sports. At most schools, the non-revenue sports are basically everything other than men's football and basketball. It's often women's sports. In addition to potential measures such as staff cuts and delayed facility upgrades, non-revenue sports could be limited. There's a risk of that. And that is a real big risk for schools that are already struggling with financial issues. So, Thomas, I got a question for you before we get into a bunch of the stuff about women's sports and some smaller sports programs. What are your thoughts on the recent NCAA settlement regarding NIL, and how do you think this will impact college football programs?
Yeah, so I'm personally a big fan that we've gotten to this place. I think for a really long time, frankly, a lot of college athletes were kind of getting taken advantage of with the amount of money they were bringing into a university versus the amount they were getting back, which is essentially a scholarship or something along those lines. And it's definitely a step in the right direction, but I feel like I've said it probably a million times on my show at this point, where you answer one big question of how you're going to pay athletes going forward, and I think revenue sharing is a great way to do that, but you probably add 500 more to the plate, and a lot of them surround these smaller sports. But for college football, they've already kind of started to implement some of the different changes, like maybe going to be smaller staffs going forward, maybe a roster cap at 100 players instead of the original 130 right now. So there's some different things going into play for college football in particular, but it's definitely going to impact the smaller sports likely more aggressively, because there's definitely some conferences and some powers that be that are trying to split this a little bit more in favor of the football, men's basketball route than the women's sports or some of the other non-revenue sports, quote unquote.
Yeah, no, I definitely see that. And I do think it's a good thing in the sense that people have gotten, I guess, been taken advantage of just because of the revenue they've produced, but also there are a lot of risks. So now moving on towards the topics of women's sports, Thomas, what are your thoughts on, this affecting and impacting women's sports regarding NIL?
Yeah, I think the biggest worry is obviously that you split this. I believe it's $22 million per school that are able to split the revenue sharing among the athletes. And I know that the SEC, I believe Yahoo Sports reported that the SEC was looking at very aggressively pushing this towards football and men's basketball and leaving about 10%, I think, for women's athletics. So that obviously would be a huge problem and something that could cause some financial strain on those programs. And I think it could really help women's sports. If they were to split this down the middle and they were to be able to make sure that the women sports get the same amount as the men's, I think there is a way forward that this could really benefit women's sports and bring it to even more of a forefront than it already is, growing every single day. So I think it's one of those things that until we kind of figure out how it can be implemented and what the kind of breakup is going to be between the men's and women's sports, you don't fully know the impact, but there is definitely a little bit of worry, I think, across the country that some women's sports might be left behind, or these smaller non-revenue sports might be left behind to be competitive in the big-time sports like college football, men's basketball, baseball, the ones that might bring in a little bit of money for the school. So definitely a little bit worried, but there's a lot of things to iron out before I think they really need to be, biting their fingernails or anything crazy like that.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think that if it was split down right in the middle, that would be awesome. But, you have to consider like finances and all of that. Is it possible? I don't know. My biggest fear is that women's sports would just be eliminated from certain schools. Like, for instance, let's take a look at Texas A&M. They're known for academics and sports, huge school, and women's golf is their least profitable sport. They make the least amount of revenue last year in women's golf. There's 9 people on the team and a total of 3 coaches. If women's golf was just cut from Texas A&M, not only would these 3 coaches lose their jobs, but these 9 athletes would lose their scholarships, their passion, commitment to the sport. For some, maybe these athletic scholarships are the only thing that's helping them be able to afford and attend the university. So what are they supposed to do? Just drop out of school? For some people, they're going to school because they play a sport, and for others, they're playing a sport to be able to go to school. So that's just something that I think about a lot. And these issues pretty much apply to smaller sports, which can also be considered non-revenue sports. But in terms of smaller football programs, Thomas, do you believe the revenue sharing model introduced in the settlement will benefit or harm smaller football programs?
Yeah, so it's kind of an interesting question because of that $22 million that can be split up, obviously you can go below that number. So some of these smaller schools might try to opt for that route. They might not be able to pay the full $22 million. In fact, they likely will not be able to pay the full $22 million. So it'll be interesting to see what the gap is between the big dogs, Georgia, Alabama, Texas, the ones that have plenty of money to throw around compared to maybe the group of 5 schools or the FCS smaller programs. And it definitely could hurt them, but also some of the measures that are being put in place, like the roster cap, is a very interesting one to talk about because usually some of these, good players that just wanted to be at a big school would go take a walk-on spot and just try to work their way up a depth chart at a school like Georgia. Now they might not have that opportunity to do that. So they might go to these smaller schools, and maybe those schools become a little bit more talented. And also with the transfer portal being as prevalent as it is, maybe some really talented kids from high school go to those smaller schools and find their way maybe to Power 5 schools later on in their career. So it's one of those things that it is likely going to increase the financial gap between these two entities, the big schools and the smaller football programs. But it also could, lend itself to maybe the talent level being a little bit closer in terms of maybe the star power on a group of 5 team compared to a Power 5 team.
I see. Yeah. I think you'll definitely see that gap a little bit more. But also just looking at beyond the immediate effects, how do you foresee the settlement shaping the landscape of college athletics over, let's say, the next decade?
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head when we talked about it, or when you said earlier, there is a big fear that some of these smaller sports are going to be eliminated. A lot of these conversations have revolved around college football because it is such a moneymaker, because there's so much power in this sport that they're going to think about it a lot. But I do think that some of the other sports were kind of left behind in some of the discussions, and it could come back to kind of bite those sports later on down the road. And it's obviously kind of a huge problem in college sports in general that college football, college basketball do get preferential treatment because of the financial gap between the two. But I do think there is a reality where everything can stay kind of intact, and we can have, athletic departments that split this evenly and have women's sports come even more to the forefront and have this really just benefit everyone across the board. Now you need a lot of people to get together and make really good decisions to get to that point, and hopefully that happens across the board. Hopefully there's common sense rules that have to be implemented across the country for this, but if not, then it could be a little bit of Wild West where you're trying your hardest to make the football program the best or the basketball program the best, and in that you forget about the non-revenue sports or the women's sports, and some of those get left behind. So definitely a huge worry about the overall college athletics landscape, and maybe a little bit too much focus on college football in these discussions, but it's definitely going to be a case-by-case basis. I think there's a lot of decisions that can be made to make women's sports more than happy with the future of their sports, but also there's the alternative that it gets a little sketchy for those. So definitely kind of a double-edged sword, something that will be kind of up to the decision makers in each athletic department, really.
Yeah, no, I like how you described it, kind of a case-by-case basis. I totally see that. I understand. I hope that in terms of like women's sports, I hope that Title IX can come into effect and more so benefit rather than hurt women's sports at all. I do have one last quick question for you, Thomas. How do you think this settlement will affect the visibility and opportunities for women and men in college athletics?
Yeah, so you just touched on it. I mean, if Title IX is upheld in this and they do have to split it 50-50 down the middle, I think it could help greatly, right? There's more money going towards women's sports. There's more ability for women's athletics to grow and kind of prosper in this new era, especially if you are, taking roster spots and maybe scholarships away from football. You can reallocate those to women's sports or just smaller sports. So I think there is, a path forward where you could get great visibility for women's sports and definitely have the ability to put them on more of a pedestal. There is that worry, obviously, on the other side of it, but I do hope that Title IX is obviously upheld in this scenario, and you can't take a lot of money and allocate it one direction and not leave a lot for everyone else. So I think it could help the visibility, but it's again, kind of up to the decision makers to make sure that happens, really.
Yeah, no, thank you for your input. That was great, Thomas. So that concludes our time for this segment. We're going to go ahead and move on to our next segment where we'll talk about Caitlin Clark. Before we begin, we are going to be taking a very short break, so I will see you guys all very soon.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits, some losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip, you choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
Welcome back, everybody, to the GSMC Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We just got done talking about the House v. NCAA settlement, and now we're going to talk about Caitlin Clark and if she is being targeted right now in the WNBA. Before I ask my guests some questions, I'm just going to lay out some background information. So on Saturday, the Chicago Sky and the Indiana Fever went head-to-head, with the Fever winning the game 71-70. It was a full house at the Cambridge Fieldhouse for the first WNBA matchup between Reese and Clark, and they pretty much picked up where things left off at college. This game was very physical, very heated. In the third quarter, Clark was waiting for an inbound pass, and out of nowhere, Kennedy Carter shoved Clark hard enough to send her crashing to the floor. Reese was on the bench at the time, but jumped out out of her seat and started applauding for Carter. The two guards had been going back and forth pretty much for a few possessions earlier in the frame, but there was no apparent reason for Carter to escalate the situation to such a hard foul. The referees briefly reviewed the incidents but did not upgrade it to a flagrant or technical. After the game, Carter refused to answer questions about what happened. Clark, for her part, called it not a basketball play, during her in-game interview between the third and fourth quarters. And then Fever head coach Christy Sides called Carter's foul, quote, unacceptable on social media and said, quote, something has to be done. Clark also spoke about the overall physicality she had encountered so far in the WNBA, and she said, it is what it is. I feel like I'm at the point where you have to accept it and don't retaliate. Just let them hit you, be what it is. Don't let it get in your head and know it's coming. I think at this point I know I'm going to take a couple hard shots a game, and that's what it is. And then during Monday's Sky Media availability, both Carter and Reese spoke to reporters. Carter said she had no regrets about Saturday's game. And then Reese defended her teammate, saying that she's taken accountability for what happened and we've moved forward from that. And then also Carter had posted about Clark on social media, saying she isn't much of a star without a three-point shot. And then, as we know, Angel Reese has expressed some negative feelings towards Clark, mainly built up from their rivalry because Clark is getting most of the credit and attention for the increase in women's basketball. Because of all this chaos, the question I have is Caitlin Clark being targeted in the WNBA? Clark's previous...
sorry about that.
I'm sorry, I was just going to add one more thing, that Clark's previous coach had spoke on it as well, and he said that it's kind of rookie hazing and also being targeted. So, yeah, Thomas, sorry for interrupting on you. What were you saying about her, if she's being targeted or not?
Yeah, no worries at all. It is one of those things where I do think to a certain extent, right? When you're a number one pick coming in from a draft class that is as star-studded as this one, there is going to be a little bit of that energy, right? As I, have put it a couple of different times when I've been talking to people about this, they're going to lace up their sneakers just a little bit tighter because they know how good of a player she is. And I know, from watching Steph Curry over the past, 15 years and everything, the way to kind of get to him, the way to knock him off his game is to play physical, is to make sure that you're picking him up at half court or even beyond that and making sure that you don't give him any space. And sometimes that gets a little aggressive. So the Kennedy Carter situation obviously is something that you have to discourage as much as possible. And you have to make sure that it's not in the sport as much as you can. But to a certain extent, they are competitors and they are going to, be aggressive towards a girl that probably needs to be played a little bit aggressively to stop her. So it's definitely one of those things where you don't want it to cross a certain line, and that's obviously kind of a fine line. But to a certain extent, this is kind of just sports, and it is competitors just kind of going at it, and there is that line. But as long as people don't jump it too often, then I think it won't be too much of an issue, I suppose.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you, Thomas. I think Caitlin Clark is being targeted. This whole chaos just makes me really frustrated because women's basketball is finally getting the attention it deserves, and then this controversy just sort of takes away from the game, if that makes sense. I don't think the treatment and controversy surrounding Clark has been fair by any means, and I think she gets a lot of the bad end of the stick because she is so famous and has been helping increase the sport's popularity. Now, Thomas, has something like this happened in men's sports, or is this more of a, new thing that's happening?
So it's interesting because in men's sports, at least over the last, since I've been, watching it and been really paying attention, there hasn't necessarily been a figure like Caitlin Clark. There's been people that have been close. There's been people that have been super influential for men's sports, but there hasn't been someone that totally turns a sport on its head and maybe makes it a very profitable league and maybe, turns over the league the same way that some people are saying Caitlin Clark will do. So there's not necessarily a good comparison to be made, but there is, number one overall picks or really highly touted guys that come into the NBA or the NFL, and they do get, more attention. They do get a little bit more energy, and that's on and off the field. So sometimes you are going to guard someone a little bit more aggressively if they are this highly touted person, because part of you is, that competitor that wants to put them kind of in their place and show, this isn't college anymore. This is, the big time, and you have to play a little bit tougher and be a little bit more aggressive to do that. So it's one of those things that there's not a great example necessarily between Caitlin Clark to a men's sport, at least of the last, decade or so. But there is, aggression towards newer players that are highly touted, that get a lot of love, and sometimes they can handle it, sometimes they can't. But Caitlin Clark seems to be, taking this kind of in stride and letting it kind of roll off her back, which is likely the best thing to do in this situation.
Yeah, no, she's been handling it really well. I definitely think this is a bit different just because it's also been more like on social media and stuff, has been way more involved with it, and also post-game interviews and stuff. Like, so many players are talking about Clark after the game. Like, the amount of times that Angel Reese has brought up the fact that she deserves more credit, and I do think that Angel Reese does deserve more credit, don't get me wrong, but it just seems that on the court, Clark's getting noticed, but then off the court, people are targeting her off the court as well. Like, it just seems like there's so much to it. Now, how do you think incidents like this impact the perception and growth of women's basketball?
Yeah, so it's a funny thing because in sports, when we all of us love drama, right? We love kind of rivalries. We love people going at each other a little bit. So there is part of me that kind of enjoys this rivalry. It is two really fantastic players that will likely be huge parts of this league going forward for the next decade or so. So part of me is really into that. And the competitor part of me is, I totally understands that. But there is the worry that, this overshadows the game. And I think a lot of people have shared that sentiment on, Twitter and different things that I've seen where it feels like people are, getting a little bit tired of talking about a tweet or talking about, what someone said in a post game instead of talking about what actually happened in the game. So there is that, fine line, as we talked about, where you don't want to, go too far and only cover the off the court stuff, because then you won't get the proper recognition for people like Angel Reese or for the other incredible players across the WNBA like Aja Wilson, Arika Ugubawale. So there are incredible people across the league, and you don't want, a sideshow per se off the court to take away from the actual game. But at the same time, there is that rivalry, and some people absolutely do love that. So you can kind of utilize this in two different ways. You can make it kind of a selling point for the WNBA going forward, or it could kind of hurt the league depending on how much it's focused on, I suppose.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think this whole thing helps, but hurts women's sports at the same time. On one hand, such incidents can, reinforce those negative stereotypes and biases that some people hold about women's sports, like being less professional or serious compared to men's sports. Like, this perception contributes to a lack of respect and reduces that credibility for the women's league, as audiences might perceive chaos as petty or over dramatized. I obviously don't see it that way, but I want to make it clear that there are some people out there who do see it like that. However, it's important to recognize that these incidents also drive increased visibility and interest in the WNBA. Controversies and high-intensity encounters can draw public and media attention, particularly attracting viewers who might not otherwise watch women's basketball unless there is some drama involved. But I also do want to point out that women athletes often do face a greater scrutiny for their behavior than their male counterparts, with similar acts on the field or court being interpreted differently. Like, for instance, physicality and aggressive confrontations in men's sports are viewed as natural and acceptable, while in women's sports they sometimes are viewed as signs of indiscipline or lack of sportsmanship. This double standard can exacerbate certain existing prejudices and might lead some fans and sponsors to view women's league as less worthy of attention and support, and I would obviously hate to see that. But at the same time, it is also doing wonders for the sport of increasing visibility and popularity and other aspects. But yeah, it does drive away from the game, and that's not great also. There's benefits and issues too. So Thomas, do you have anything else that you wanted to add on that note?
No, I don't think so. I think we covered it all. It's definitely a very weird issue and going to be one that develops. But yeah, I think we covered it.
Okay, awesome. So we're now going to move on to our next segment. And with that, our guest is going to lead the show for today. Tune into Thomas's show, which I will have linked in the YouTube description, GSMC College Football Podcast. Thank you, Thomas, so much for joining. I really appreciate all your time and impact on both of these topics. Oh. There were some technical issues right here. I'm so sorry. But Thomas did have to leave. So I will see you guys. Oh my goodness, I'm having so many technical difficulties. I am so sorry. Okay, we're going to be taking a very short break. So I will see you guys very, very soon.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the GSMC Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We just got done talking about Caitlin Clark and if she's being targeted, and now we're going to move on to talking about volleyball. So we're going to talk about Team USA volleyball roster. USA Volleyball and Coach Corrali, announced the 2024 Women's Olympic Team roster Wednesday, and it includes some of the mainstays from the team that won gold in Tokyo in 2020. It also has some new Olympic faces, which are, of course, very exciting. While some of the slots can on the 12-player, one official I'm so sorry. While some of the slots on the 12-player, one official alternate roster were all but ineditable, the three biggest questions all along were who would be the 4 outside hitters, who would be the 2 setters, and who would be the alternates. So we're going to get right into the full roster. I found it pretty interesting, but at the same time, I very much had a lot of hopes that these people would be on the roster. A lot of these are not surprises. Okay, so for outside hitters, Jordan Larson, Kelsey Robertson-Cook, Catherine Plummer, and Avery Skinner. And the setters are returning Olympian Jordan Poulter and the first-timer Lauren Carlini. Justin Wong-Orantes for the libero position. And the middles are Haley Washington, Dana Rett, and Chiaka Ogbogu. For opposites, we have Jordan Thompson and Annie Drew. And then the alternates are setter Mika. I've heard people pronounce it both ways, so now I'm confused. But I'm going to say Mika because I have a friend who pronounces her name Mika, and it's spelled that way. Mika Hancock, outside Ali Franti, libero Morgan Hens, middle Anna Hall, and outside Kalia Lanier. I've talked about Jordan Larson a bunch of times on my channel a lot. Someone said I like Kelsey. I love Kelsey too. Kelsey Robertson-Cook, I believe that's who you're talking about, although there is only one Kelsey, so I'm going to assume that that's the Kelsey you're talking about. I love her. We're talking about her next. So, Jordan Larson, talked about her a bunch of times. She's an absolute asset to this year's Olympic volleyball team, and her spot as one of the 4 outside hitters is well-deserved for a bunch of standout reasons. First off, she's got a ton of experience and a real knack for leading on the court, especially under pressure. She was at the 2012 and 2016 Olympics, and she was an absolute beast. She was crucial in snagging those silver medals, showing off her cool under pressure and bringing a season perspective that's super valuable, especially for guiding the newer players. Then there's her skill set. Larson is phenomenal all around, both on offense and defense, making her super versatile. And she's not just good, she's recognized for it big time. She scooped up the MVP award at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics, where the US team clinched the gold, not to mention being named the best outside spiker by the FIVB multiple times. Kelsey Robertson-Cook. Yeah, I've talked about her multiple times on my channel. I've talked about most of these outsiders on my channel, I believe. Okay, so Robertson Cook's versatility is one of her standout traits. She excels primarily as an outside hitter, but can adapt to various roles on the court, making her incredibly valuable, especially against the unpredictable challenges of international competition. She isn't new to the global stage either. She's competed at multiple world championships and Olympics, each experience sharpening her game and preparing her for high-pressure matches. Her professional volleyball journey has taken her across the globe, from Turkey to Italy to China, where she's not only competed but also clinched national championships and scooped up personal accolades. And then Catherine Plummer has been a standout in the volleyball world, making waves from her collegiate days at Stanford University to her professional career abroad. At Stanford, she wasn't just part of the team. She led them to 3 NCAA championships in 2016, 2018, and 2019. Her exceptional talent earned her numerous accolades, including being named the AVCA National Player of the Year twice. This level of performance set her a solid foundation for her transition to the professional leagues. Plummer's professional journey took her to Italy, one of the most competitive volleyball environments globally, where she has continued to hone her skills against some of the top international talents. Lastly, for the outside hitters, we have Avery Skinner. Avery Skinner has made a notable impact in the volleyball world, starting with her stellar collegiate career at the University of Kentucky, where she was instrumental in leading her team to its first NCAA championship in 2020. Her standout performances in critical matches highlighted her ability to thrive under pressure, characterized by powerful attacks and solid defensive skills. Following her collegiate success, Skinner transitioned to professional volleyball, broadening her experience by competing in Europe. This international exposure has honed her skills in tactical understanding, enhancing her adaptability and versatility, traits that are invaluable on the global stage. In addition to her club commitments, Skinner has been an active participant with the U.S. national team, with further developing her skills among some of the best in the sport. The setters are returning Olympian Jordan Poulter and first-time Lauren Carlini. Oh, someone just brought up Oklahoma last night. We are going to be talking about Oklahoma winning the World Series. I have a lot to say about that, so make sure you stay to the end of today's episode. Jordan Poulter is an excellent choice as a setter for any high-level volleyball team, especially the U.S. Olympic team, thanks to her comprehensive skill set, significant achievements, and leadership qualities. During her time at the University of Illinois, she demonstrated remarkable playmaking abilities and leadership, guiding her team through numerous challenging NCAA tournaments. Her performance in college set the stage for her successful transition into professional volleyball in Europe's top leagues, where she faced off against some of the world's best, further honing her tactical understanding and adaptability. Beyond her club experience, Poulter has been an integral part of the U.S. Women's National Volleyball team, contributing significantly to their gold medal win at the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. Lauren Carlini is a distinguished setter whose abilities and experience make her an outstanding candidate for top-level volleyball competitions, including the Olympics, obviously. Carlini's volleyball journey was marked by significant success during her collegiate career at the University of Wisconsin, where she consistently demonstrated her excellent setting skills and leadership on the court. This foundation enabled her to transition smoothly into professional volleyball, where she has competed in various international leagues, further enhancing her skills against some of the top players in the world. Her abilities extend beyond just setting. Lauren is known for her defensive capabilities and her effective serve, making her a versatile player who can contribute to multiple facets of the game. Justine Wong-Laurentiis for libero. Her career, marked by significant achievements, began to flourish during her time at the University of Nebraska, where she helped lead her team to an NCAA championship. Following her successful collegiate career, Wong-Laurentiis transitioned to professional volleyball, where she continued to excel, playing in leagues overseas and gaining valuable international experience. This experience has not only refined her defensive skills, but has also enhanced her ability to read the game and react swiftly, a critical skill for any libero. Wong-Laurentiis played a pivotal role in the U.S. team's historic gold medal win at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. Her performance throughout the tournament was absolutely instrumental, marked by her relentless defense and precise ball handling, which consistently set up her team for successful attacks and counterplays. The middles are Haley Washington, Dana Retke, and Chiaka Agbogo. Haley Washington has established herself as a formidable middle blocker on the international volleyball scene, known for her dynamic play and consistent performances. During her collegiate career at Penn State University, she was a standout player, helping lead her team to several NCAA tournament appearances and earning multiple All-American honors. Her time at Penn State was marked by remarkable offensive efficiency and blocking skills, setting the stage for a successful transition to professional volleyball. After college, Washington continued to excel, taking her talents to professional leagues in Europe, where she faced high-caliber competition that further honed her skills. Her ability to perform at a high level internationally has not gone unnoticed, as she's become a key player for the U.S. national team. Washington was pivotal in the team's recent successes, including significant contributions during the World Championships and other major international tournaments. Her strengths as a middle blocker include not only her blocking abilities, but also her quickness and intelligence on the court. Jana Retke has rapidly become a prominent figure in the volleyball world, particularly known for her exceptional capabilities as a middle blocker. Standing at an imposing 6'8" height, her height and athleticism were pivotal during her standout career at the University of Wisconsin, where she helped lead the team to multiple Big Ten titles and deep NCAA tournament runs. Retke's college career was decorated with numerous accolades, including multiple All-American honors, showcasing her dominance and the net both offensively and defensively. And then we have Chiaka Agbagu has made a significant mark in the world of volleyball, particularly recognized for her exceptional role as a middle blocker. After a stellar collegiate career at the University of Texas, where she was instrumental in leading her team to the NCAA finals and secured multiple All-American honors, she transitioned seamlessly into professional volleyball. Her time at Texas not only showcased her blocking skills, but also her quick attacks and service aces, laying a robust foundation for her professional career. For opposites, we have Jordan Thompson and Annie Drew. Jordan Thompson has rapidly emerged as a standout volleyball player, particularly excelling in the opposite hitter position. Her talent, height, and powerful hitting have defined her rise through the ranks, starting with an impressive collegiate career at the University of Cincinnati, where she left a lasting mark by shattering records and earning numerous accolades. Thompson's ability to deliver powerful spikes from the back and front rows makes her a formidable force on the court. And following her successful stint in college, Thomas transitioned to professional volleyball, where she has continued to excel in international leagues. Her offensive capabilities, coupled with her improving defensive skills, make her a well-rounded player who can change the dynamics of a game single-handedly. Her towering presence at the net, combined with her agility and precise timing, allows her to dominate matches, making her an essential asset for the U.S. team in the Olympics upcoming. Annie Drews has made a significant mark as an opposite hitter, known for her strong performances both domestically and internationally. After a solid collegiate career at Purdue University, where she honed her skills and developed into a formidable player, Drews transitioned to professional volleyball, where her career truly began to flourish then. Her powerful hitting and ability to perform clutch plays have made her a key asset on every team she's joined. In professional leagues across the globe, from Japan to Italy, Drews has consistently showcased her ability to lead and score, underscoring her adaptability to different competitive environments. Drew's impact on the U.S. national team has been particularly noteworthy. Her stand-up performances in major tournaments like the FIVB Volleyball Nations League and the World Championships have not only contributed to the team's successes, but have also highlighted her as one of the top players in her position globally. The program also listed 5 alternates: setter Mika Hancock, outside Ali Franti, libero Morgan Hens, middle Anna Hall, and outside Kalia Lanier. The selection of 5 alternates for the U.S. volleyball team brings together a mix of versatile and experienced players, each bringing unique skills to the table. Mika Hancock, serving as the alternate setter, is known for her exceptional setting skills and powerful serve, which can change the momentum of any game. Her experience and playmaking ability make her a reliable backup, ready to step in and maintain the team's competitive edge. Ali Franti and Kalia Lanier, chosen as outside hitters, offer depth on the wings. Franti's powerful attacks and solid defensive skills provide a well-rounded option on the outside. Her ability to score and serve aggressively adds to the team's offensive arsenal. Oh my goodness. English, please. I cannot speak sometimes. Oh no, did I forget Kalat? Oh no, guys, I'm so sorry. I forgot a picture for Kalia Lanier, but she's known for her formidable presence and scoring ability, and she brings additional firepower. Her height and athleticism allow her to dominate at the net and back row, making her a valuable asset in both offensive and defensive scenarios. Someone asked if I got my hair done. No, I did not get my hair done, but I would love my hair done. I washed my hair. That's what I did. Okay. Okay, so Morgan Hens, she's celebrated for her extraordinary defensive capabilities and game reading. Her quick reflexes and ability to keep plays alive not only boost the team's defense, but also inspire her teammates with her tenacity and dedication. Hence, presence ensures stability in the backcourt, crucial during high-pressure matches. Lastly, Anna Hall. Oh my goodness, why? Oh my gosh, there she is. I literally was like, I know I have a picture of her. This is Lydia right here. Someone says look darker. Oh, don't be sorry. Oh my gosh, don't apologize. No, I think it might be the light, or it just might be, I don't know. If you're blonde, you understand that sometimes your hair looks darker some days. Sometimes it looks really blonde. It's weird. I don't know. Blondes, we have more fun with that, you know? We have to decide if our hair is brunette or blonde one day. So Anna Hall, is the alternate middle blocker, and she provides a strong blocking and quick attacking option in the center. Hall's ability to shut down opponents' hitters and contribute to quick middle attacks can be vital during long tournaments, offering strategic flexibility and a fresh presence at the net. Together, these 5 alternates form a robust support squad, each capable of stepping up when called upon. So we're now going to move on to our next segment where we talk about WTA rankings. Before we get into that, we're going to be taking a short break, so I will see you guys all very soon.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
Welcome back to the GSMC Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I just plugged in my microphone, so hopefully you guys can hear me better because there is an echo in this room. It really annoys me. So I really hope you guys can hear me. It says that my mic is working, but sometimes this thing is off, so I'm gonna pray that y'all can hear me. Okay, so we just got done talking about Team USA's volleyball roster for the Olympics. And now we're going to talk about the top 20 WTA players. So these athletes not only display exceptional skill and resilience on the court, but also bring unique backgrounds and styles that have really shaped their careers and contributions to the sports. So starting with the pinnacle of women's tennis, this is no shocker here. We have I also forgot to say, please ignore the fact that I can't pronounce names at all. And there are so many difficult names to pronounce, so I sincerely apologize in advance. Okay, first is Iga Swiatek, obviously, of Poland. She currently sits comfortably with 11,695 points. At just 23 years old, Iga has taken the tennis world by storm, capturing major titles with a style defined by her aggressive baseline rallies and remarkable mental fortitude. Her 2021 French Open victory was a showcase of her dominance as she steamrolled the competition without dropping a set. Swiatek's game is built around her powerful forehand, precise footwork, and the ability to stay cool under pressure, characteristics that have helped her maintain her top spot and draw comparisons to tennis greats. Next, we have, obviously, Aryna Sabalenka from Belarus, holding 8,138 points. Sabalenka's tennis journey is marked by her powerful gameplay and a serve that can dominate her opponents, and literally all opponents. One of her notable performances was at the 2021 Wimbledon Championships, where she reached the semifinals. The results was pivotal in proving her abilities on grass, a service that complements her aggressive play style. Sabalenka's ability to overpower players with her serve and forehand makes her matches exhilarating to watch. And then American tennis sensation Coco Gauff with 7,638 points is in third. Gauff burst onto the scene at Wimbledon 2019, defeating Venus Williams, which instantly made headlines worldwide. Since then, Gauff has been known for her incredible athleticism and mature game sense, which is remarkable for her age of 20 years old. Her rapid improvements on her serve and net play are turning her into a formidable all-court player, signaling a promising future that might redefine women's tennis. And she's, I'm gonna have to go, she's my favorite tennis player right now. Yeah, I think she is. I also do, of course, I love Serena Williams, so that's like also kind of hard. So, okay, moving on to fourth, we have Elena Rybakina of Kazakhstan, who ranks fourth with 5,673 points. She's been a revelation on the tour with her calm demeanor and powerful serve, which were prominently displayed during her stunning victory at the 2022 Wimbledon Championships. Rybakina's style, characterized by her stoic presence and explosive power, allows her to dictate the pace of the match and dismantle her opponent's defenses effectively. And then we have Jessica Pegula, wow, another American talent. She stands at fifth with 4,550 points. Pegula's rise in the tennis world has been marked by consistent performances against top-tier players, highlighted by her run to the quarterfinals at the 2021 Australian Open. Her game is defined by her solid baseline play and strategic use of angles, making her a tough opponent in prolonged rallies. Wow, I don't know why I'm like stuttering so much. I am so sorry. In sixth place, or sixth ranking here, we have Marketa Vondrousova of Czech Republic, known for her 2019 French Open final run, and she holds 4,143 points. Her left-handed play and exceptional use of drop shots and lobs make her a unique player on the tour. Her ability to mix up play with crafty slices and deft net plays challenges her opponents and entertains tennis fans alike. I find her particularly entertaining to watch. And then we have Maria Sakkari of Greece, sitting in the seventh spot with 3,980 points. She's been known for athletic prowess and powerful shots. Sakkari's memorable match against Serena Williams at the 2020 US Open, where she triumphed in a tough three-setter, exemplifies her fighting spirit and physical fitness, which are central to her play. And as you can see in these pictures, she is so incredibly insanely strong and fit, and I think that's what really sets her apart from any other player, is how incredibly like muscular she is in tone. She's just beautiful. Okay. I really sincerely apologize for not being able to pronounce this name. Zhen Qingwen of China, who ranks 8th with 3,945 points. She's one of the exciting prospects in tennis right now. At only 21 years old, her powerful baseline game and resilience were on full display during her impressive run at the 2022 French Open, where she pushed Swiatek in a competitive match despite physical ailments. Ons Jabbar of Tunisia in 9th place with 3,748 points brings a delightful flair to the game with a creative play style that includes a variety of spins and slices. Jabbar made history as the first Arab woman to reach a Grand Slam final at Wimbledon 2022, a testament to her skill and pioneering impact on the sport. Danielle Collins from the USA with 3,472 points is known for her aggressive returns and powerful baseline strokes. Her standout performance at the 2022 Australian Open final underlined her grit and power hitting capabilities, making her a formidable opponent on hard courts. Then we have Jelena Ostapenko from Latvia, sits at the 11th position with 3,318 points. The 2017 French Open champion is famous for her fearless approach and powerful strokes, notably her backhand, which she uses to devastating effect against her opponents. And the Madison Keys of the USA ranks 12th with 3,283 points, known for her powerful serve and forehand. Keys' run to the 2017 US Open final was a highlight of her career, showcasing her ability to dominate on hard courts with her aggressive play. Next, we have Daria Kazatkina of Russia at 13th with 3,258 points, and she brings a tactical richness to her matches, known for her intelligent shot selection and variety. Her ability to read the game and crowd points meticulously makes her a cerebral player on the tour. Beatriz Haddad Maia from Brazil ranks 14th. She brings a powerful left-handed game to the court, making her a formidable opponent. Her aggressive baseline play and strong service game have propelled her to notable achievements in the world of tennis. Her breakthrough performances in WTA tournaments, coupled with her ability to overpower opponents with deep, forceful ground strokes, have seen her rise through the ranks quickly. Her physicality and intensity on the court underscore her presence and make her a significant contender in every tournament she enters. Jasmine Paolini of Italy, holding the 15th spot, is known for her agility and excellent counter-punching abilities. Her style is characterized by her quick movements and ability to return balls, that seem out of reach, turning defensive plays into offensive opportunities. She just has that natural gift of athleticism. Her skill is maneuvering around the court and executing precise shots, and it makes her a tough match for really any opponent. Play's rise in the WTA rankings is a testament to her tenacity and strategic approach to the game, showcasing her ability to compete at high levels and challenge top-ranked players. Next, we have Karolina Muchova, and she holds the 16th spot with 2,810 points. At 27 years old, Muchova is celebrated for her all-court game and tactical intelligence. Notable for her semifinal appearance at the 2021 Australian Open, she has a knack for changing the tempo of the match with her exceptional net play and variety of shots. Her ability to execute slices, drop shots, and precise volleys makes her a difficult opponent to predict and counter. Then we have Ludmila, I'm so sorry guys, I'm so bad at pronouncing name. Ludmila Samsonova of Russia. She ranks 17th with 2,580 points. Known for her powerful serve and aggressive baseline play, this 25-year-old has rapidly climbed the rankings. One of her career headlines includes winning the title at the 2021 German Open in Berlin, where she defeated several top-ranked players. Samsonova's game is characterized by her explosive power and resilience on the courts, traits that have enabled her to make significant impacts in tournaments. Ekaterina Alexandrova, another Russian tennis player, is in the 18th position with 2,480 points. At 29 years old, her strong serve and forehand are her biggest weapons, I'll say. Her 2020 Shenzhen Open victory is a testament to her hard-court prowess. Her aggressive style is commented by her ability to maintain a high-level play consistently, making her a perennial threat in WTA competitions. Okay, I'm so sorry. I'm so bad at pronouncing names. Helena Svitolina from Ukraine is ranked 19th with 2,290 points. She's known for her defensive skills and strategic play, and she's been a consistent presence in the top ranks of women's tennis. Her career is highlighted by more than a dozen WTA titles, including prestigious wins at the WTA Finals in 2018. Her ability to, my voice just went away. Her ability to outlast opponents in grueling rallies and her mental toughness on crucial points are key aspects of her game. Lastly, for 20th place, we have Marta Kostyuk, also from Ukraine. She rounds out the top 20 with 2,180 points at just 21 years old. She's shown promise with her aggressive baseline game and quick footwork. Her performance at the 2021 French Open, where she reached the 4th round, showcased her potential to compete with the best in the sport. Her fearless approach and youthful energy bring a refreshing dynamicism to her matches, signaling her as one to watch in the coming years. This exploration into the careers of the top 20 WTA players reveals not only their skills and achievements, but also the diverse backgrounds and playing styles that enrich the sport of tennis. Their journeys, marked by landmark matches and significant victories, highlight the evolving landscape of women's tennis and promise an exciting future for fans and upcoming players alike. So we're now going to move on to our next segment, where we finish the show with the University of Oklahoma beating UT Austin in the World Series for the 4th consecutive win. I'm very excited to get into this. Before we do get into it, though, we are going to be taking a very short break, so I will see you guys very soon. Welcome back, everybody, to the GSMC Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We just got done talking about WTA rankings, and now we have our final and last and most exciting segment. We're going to talk about University of Oklahoma beating UT Austin in the World Series. Before we get into that, I just wanted to remind you guys to like and subscribe to our show. I forgot to mention this once again during the second segment, so I'm doing it right now. To become a part of our show, tip and donate using the link gsmcpodcast.net. And this also puts your questions and comments at the top of the list so that I see them, they get answered and run on the air. I recommend using this link. It helps make it an interactive show, very fun. Okay, once again, the link is gsmcpodcast.net. Okay, I'm very excited to talk about this. Let's get started talking about Oklahoma's victory. On June 5th, Oklahoma and UT Austin had their first final game where Oklahoma took the win 8-3. The next day, which was yesterday, Oklahoma took the win once again with a final score of 8-4. Oklahoma is now the first school to have won 4 consecutive World Series, which is absolutely insane. Super proud and happy of them. To be very honest, though, I was rooting for Texas, but I'm happy to see that Oklahoma has made history in this World Series with 4 consecutive wins. Both final games are very exciting, and it was a good end to the season for both teams. So let's recap Game 1. When this game started, Texas had yet to give up a run in 3 World Series game, and that streak lasted all but 2 batters Wednesday. Tyree Jennings blasted Tegan Cavan's 3-2 pitch over the left center field wall to put the Sooners up 2-0 right off the bat. The home run was the 98th of Jennings' career and her 11th career in World Series home run, putting her one behind Jocelyn Alo from the World Series records. And I did talk about the records and home run history in the show yesterday. So I recommend checking that out. And then I also talked about the most outstanding players from the past 20 years from the World Series. So recommend also checking that out and the day before that. So what was the day? Wednesday's show. There you go. Okay, so by the end of the first inning of this game, Kelly Maxwell gave up a solo home run to Mia Scott. In the third inning, some back-to-back home runs took place. Kinsey Hansen and Cassidy Pickering blasted back-to-back home runs off Texas freshman Tegan Cavan to stretch the Sooners' lead to 5-1 and drive Cavan from the game. Hansen drove Cavan's 2-1 pitcher out to left field for her second home run of this World Series and her 7th career World Series homer. The home run moved Hansen into third in World Series history, breaking a tie with former Sooner slugger Lauren Chamberlain. Hansen's homer scored 2 to put Oklahoma up 4-1 after Ella Parker began the inning with a single. Continuing in the third inning, second baseman Avery Hodge, who was starting her 3rd consecutive game in the place of Alana Torres for an injury, made a strong defensive play to start the bottom of the third. Hodge charged in on Ashton Maloney's slow grounder to Sydney Sanders at first to retire Maloney. Kelly Maxwell walked the next 2 hitters before coming back to strike out Vivian Martinez and then getting Reese Atwood to balance out up the middle. In the 5th inning, Texas changed their pitchers, going with Estelle Check, and she retired the first 2 hitters before running into trouble. Kinsey Hansen blasted a double to left center, and Cassidy Pickering followed with a slow roller towards second. Longhorn second baseman Alyssa Washington tried to flip the ball to first, but the ball went high, allowing Hansen to come around to score and stretch Oklahoma's lead to 6-1. At the bottom of the 6th, Kelly Maxwell had allowed 1 hit with 4 walks through 5 innings. Vivian Martinez roped the ball down the right field line past OU first baseman Sydney Sanders to leave off the bottom of the 6th. It was originally ruled a triple, but changed to an error on Sanders. Reese Atwood popped up in the midfield for the first out, but the Longhorns capitalized on the error with Katie Stewart's RBI single to right field. After advancing to second on a wild pitch, Stewart scored another single to right, this time from Alyssa Washington. The score then read 7-3, and we had our first challenge from the Sooners after Kayla Henry reached out an infield single, dodging a tag from Sanders. The call was upheld. Maxwell struck out pinch hitter Victoria Hunter to end the inning, and the score still read 7-3. It really was the offense, and the final score ended up being 8-3. Sorry, didn't make that clear. It was the offense that really powered Oklahoma to their win in Game 1 with the final score of 8-3. During the postgame interview, Oklahoma coach Patty Gasso said, "We work hard, we do it blue-collar style, we fight, we're gritty. There's nothing we feel that we can't overcome, and that's why we go out here and we just play free." Now let's talk about Game 2, which was really just as exciting. Game 2, oh no, why? Oh my goodness. Oh, there we go. Okay. Didn't need to spoil the last slide. Okay. Game 2 was a testament to the unwavering spirit of both the Texas Longhorns and Oklahoma Sooners. Game 2 was a thrilling back and forth battle with each team answering the other moves. Texas took the lead in the beginning of the 4th inning, which made it seem like they could have made their comeback in this game. However, in the pivotal moment in the 4th inning, the Oklahoma Sooners loaded the bases and Sidney Sanders' powerful hit brought all the runners home, giving the Sooners a significant 5-3 lead. Texas continued to struggle with Oklahoma pitcher rotation. Despite this, the Longhorns showed great determination and fought back, narrowing the game to a 1-run difference in the 6th inning. However, the Longhorns' effort did fall short as Oklahoma took the lead 8-4 in the bottom of the 6th. All 8 of Oklahoma's national championships under Gasso have come since 2000, the year 2000, need to make that clear. And they've now won 7 of the last 11 Women College World Series, while appearing in the last 5 championship series. It also puts a bow on the careers of 5 standout Oklahoma series. It really gives them recognition because they literally, you have to remember, they're seniors, so they were here for the last 4 years. So these wins have been with them for 4 years. Does that make sense? They've been participating in these wins for 4 years, and they're now seniors, which is, like, imagine, like, graduating and being like, yeah, we were part of the 4 consecutive wins. Like, that's insane. Anyway, those Oklahoma seniors are Coleman, Tyree Jennings, Kenzie Hansen, Nicole May, and Riley Boone. Those 5 seniors were literally part of every national championship team during the 4P, and this is really an amazing way for them to end their collegiate career. The seniors of the UT Austin team were Jordan Whittaker, Bella Dayton, Alyssa Washington, Jolly Mitchell, and Estelle Check. Even though they didn't finish the World Series with a win, coming in second is also super impressive, and this was a good way to end their collegiate career, taking home a second place position in the World Series. I also think that pitcher taking Kavan needs more credit on the UT Austin team because she's a freshman, and like that's insane that she did all of this amazing work at her freshman year. Yeah, I'm really seeing her as one of the most outstanding players in the future if UT Austin can get back to where they were standing in this season. So now that the World Series is over, though, we got to talk about who got the Most Outstanding Player award. Callie Maxwell was named the Most Outstanding Player, and what's different about her is that she's an Oklahoma transfer from Oklahoma State University. So transferred to University of Oklahoma from Oklahoma State University. It gets so confusing. So she was actually criticized for transferring to her rival's team, but that all sort of paid off, I guess, getting Most Outstanding Player. Maxwell went 3-0 with a save at the World Series, allowing 7 earned runs in 27 innings. The graduate student, she's a graduate student, so I don't know what next year holds for her, but she did say, I received a lot of hate, a lot of doubt, but I'm just thankful for these girls and this team and this staff just to pick me up and have my back. Yeah, obviously, this was a crazy World Series. Here are some comments that I'm reading from people. Senior smashed, absolutely they did. Oh, I loved Coach holding grandkids. I know, that was so sweet. I don't know. There's so many things in like sports when like I see, like there's these little things that I see and I'm literally like so like, oh, that's so cute. I actually went to the, this is so random. This has nothing to do with softball, but I went to the Denver Nuggets championship game last year. Amazing moment ever. I've never been happier. And I actually saw Jokic like holding his kid while he had the trophy in his hand. It was the cutest thing ever because the kid was like the same size as the trophy. Anyway. That's like one of those moments where I'm like, that is adorable. Yeah, I'm going crazy over this win too. I'm happy for Oklahoma, but at the same time, like I am sad for UT Austin because I was rooting for them, if I'm being completely honest. But at the same time, I was like low-key rooting for Oklahoma because this would be their 4 consecutive wins, and that's like insane. Like no one's done that before. Like, of course I want to see that happen. Oklahoma's always been known for softball. Like of course. Like, they deserve to win 4 times in a row, you know? Okay, so that concludes our show for today. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the GSMC Hoops and Heels and One Sports podcast presented to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us, so please remember to subscribe to the show and leave a positive review. It really does make a difference. We also invite you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram for more content and updates. Thank you guys once again, and have a wonderful day.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool.